most asked question on my past videos, specifically when we were doing some farming stuff, was how much I'm going to make this first year. And that's what we're going to answer. We're going to show revenue, expenses, then also I want to tell you guys how much we made this year off YouTube videos too. I'm not making this video to brag or gloat in any way, and a lot of you will leave it thinking that I was dumb for buying land at 2023 prices. Also, please don't feel bad for me in any way. It's all my responsibility for any money I lost, and I'm not complaining about anything too. Super fortunate to be in the position I am, and none of the things I'm going to say are financial advice too. And the reason I'm making this video is just to help somebody out. Whether you're curious, whether you want to know how much you can make off a few acres farming, or how much you can make off a YouTube channel. That's why I'm making this video. It's just to help the 10 people out that might take this information and do something with it. The thing I value most on this channel is to try and be as transparent as possible, and I really do just think about a lot of this finance stuff all the time, so it's kind of fun to make this video too and share kind of my thought process. We'll look at the numbers and then kind of be like, oh, you could look at it this way. Some people could spin it this way and justify certain things. Like, you could justify anything. And these numbers aren't going to be perfect or exact. They're numbers I kind of calculated. I might be off on some few things, and I'll probably forget some things or you know, small expenses that I didn't include. The number we're going to come to is cash flow. We're going to leave out some expenses that are to improve the land and look solely at the year-over-year cost of owning the land and then the yearly cost of the crop inputs. And to start, you have the option between renting land or buying it. I ended up going with the buying route at a public auction. I kind of believe in owning real estate too, just as a long-term store of value, a good place to put money. Now this spring at an auction, I purchased 50 acres of farmland, and that came to this first year 42.5 of actual tillable ground that we planted and harvested. The purchase price was $396,000. That comes to $9,300 per tillable acre, and then it's $7,700 per acre around the whole entire border. So like the creeks, ditches, stuff that I'm not actually farming, trees, stuff like that. I financed 90% of that, and it came to a 4% interest rate. And then the other 10%, the $39,000 was a down payment. And with that, our land cost came to $25,500 or $600 per tillable acre. Now keep in mind, I have property taxes in there as well, and then $9,600 of that $25,000 is actually money going towards the principal or gaining me equity. Now to get some context of those numbers, we're gonna use the land survey that was done for Iowa farmland in 2022, and that came out to an average of $11,400 per tillable acre of farmland. And what's pretty interesting to see, that's an increase from the previous year of 17%. Now, in my region of the world, you can see land prices go from $20,000 an acre plus, and probably nothing that's purely farmland will go less than $10,000. There'll be a lot of people commenting in this video talking about how much farmland is in their area. And for more context, in 2023, the Iowa cash rent survey came in around $300 for cash rent in my area. Now that can probably go all the way down to $150 and all the way up to, I don't know, $400. But for my land cost, it's $600. And now we're going to look at our input costs, starting off with tillage. We had to do some field work this spring. Some of the ground was really rough. There were big holes. It hadn't been farmed in many decades, so I ended up running a disc across that. And we're going to use ISU's 2023 custom farm rates. These are public numbers that you can find online. And the cost of running a disc is $17.55 per acre, which is about $745 that I paid. The disc didn't do the best job, so we came in for one pass of a field cultivator right before we planted, and that came to the same price, $17 per acre or $745. Now right away in the spring, we came out, did some soil sampling. That's pretty important to see like where fertility is at in the field. We spent $5,100 on anhydrous, and then $6,300 on dry fertilizer. Keep in mind, that's application as well. So that comes out to $11,500 for fertilizer, and that's including the custom cost of somebody doing it. I wasn't out there with my equipment doing it. And now it was time to get the seed in the ground, so I borrowed my brother's tractor and planter. A lot of you guys give me a lot of heck for driving it 100 miles up to my place, and so we're gonna include $250 of diesel on, you know, that round trip, and then $250 for wear and tear on the tires and the tractor, stuff like that. In order to grow corn, you need some corn seed. That came out to $5,000 or $118 per acre. Now to be completely transparent, I was super fortunate to use my brother's tractor and planter. I didn't write him a check when I used it. Now I paid for diesel. I was the one in the tractor doing the work, stuff like that. Now we do share a lot of equipment, and a lot of the things I do for him with no expectation of a reward, or he borrows a piece of equipment from me that I own. kind of similar situation. But we're still going to include that into our cash flow statement. So we're going to use the custom rate again. That comes to $24 an acre or $1,050 total. Now we also have to pay for crop insurance. That came to $1,200 or $28 per acre. Next, we have to add the cost of spraying. This was custom done. I didn't do any of the work myself. That came out to $4,900 or $116 per acre. In July, when the corn was just about tasseling, we had a drone come out. They put down fungicide in a product called Source. That came out to $2,300 or $56 per acre. Now fast forward to fall time, it's October, the corn's all grown, it's mature, it's starting to dry down, and now we need to harvest it. So once again, I'm borrowing my brother's equipment for this. He has a John Deere 9560 SDS combine. It has a 6-row corn head on it. Instead of driving it 100 miles, I ended up having a trucker haul it. That came to $650 for the one-way trip. The cost of custom combining is $1,750 or $41 per acre. Next, we had to haul the corn in. We used the military dump truck for that, gravity wagons, and that comes to 13 cents per bushel that we bring in or haul. And it was about a 5-mile one-way trip. So it was about $1,200 to harvest all the bushels I did and then bring them in. So those were all of our expenses. We had our land costs, then we had our crop input cost, and now we're gonna look at how much did we bring in, how much did we make off the harvest. We went in, we sold our corn. Now we yielded 9,600 bushels of wet corn. We averaged about 18% on moisture that we were bringing out of the field. And drying down that corn isn't free. At the point of sale, it cost me about 5 cents per bushel per point to dry it down. Now I pre-sold 2,000 bushels of corn. Back in June, there was a bit of a drought scare. We didn't have a big rain up until then during the growing season. And for fall delivery, prices went up to $5.54. Now in hindsight, I should have sold a lot more than I did, just those 2,000. You know, I should have sold the 9,000 that we sold in a perfect world, but prices never went up after that, and they all went down from there. Now, in case this video gets lots of views, I want to take a second here and tell you guys about American farming. My brother Grant, you've seen in past videos, he started a software company called Squad Build Inc. about 3 years ago now. Grant and the team at Squad Build just released their first product, American Farming. It's a mobile farming game. It's kind of based on the Midwest region. It kind of has that feel of the map. There's like a downtown and everything, a main street, and it's like the true American farming operation in a video game. There's livestock, such as you can have a pig farm, cattle farm, you can even have a dairy operation. So it's pretty cool. There's lots to do in the game. Now the game isn't free. It is a one-time purchase. It's a mobile video game, so you can find it on the App Store or Google Play. Now this isn't a paid promotion at all. I just wanted to give a shout out to Grant and the team. I've seen them work super hard on this over, a few years here now, and just wanted to shout it out and let people know if they're interested. Now back to how much we made. In the end, we made $40,400, and that comes out to $4.50 per bushel that we ended up selling at. Now that's after all the drying costs. Like I said earlier, 5 cents per bushel per point of dry down costs. So as you can tell, our revenue did not meet our expenses, and on paper we lost money in our cash flow statement. It came out to about $16,800 or just under $400 per acre of loss. Now keep in mind some of the things I did myself, like running the disc, field cultivator, and planting. ISU custom rate kind of factors in what labor would cost. I'm not sure what they use, but on that $16,000 loss, some of that money would be what I would pay myself to sit in the tractor and do the field work. Now personally, I'm gonna look at it like this year I lost $16,000, and you can click off this video and say how dumb I am for losing that much and tell everybody I lost a bunch of money farming, but I'm gonna throw a bit of speculation in, and maybe some people would use what I'm gonna say to kind of justify these land prices and justify, purchasing land like I did. Now, first thing, to lower that number, I didn't pay Grant to use the tractor, the planter, or the combine. So those savings would have came out to $2,800 per acre if I didn't include that into my expenses. And like I said, I didn't write him a check for that. Super fortunate that I didn't have to. And there's a bunch of times I've worked for Grant in many years past without any pay, stuff like that, or lent him a piece of my equipment, my truck, whatever it is, and not get any pay. We're kind of a team like that, and we work together. And earlier I mentioned there's $9,600 of that land cost that's actually paying down principal. So I like to kind of look at it as a forced savings account, and really that's $9,600 of equity I'm putting into the land. And at some point, it's not liquid at all. I'm not saying it is, but at some point I should be able to get that money back unless land prices totally collapse and I can't sell it for anything. So minusing off those two, the $16,000 kind of goes down pretty quick and things are looking a bit better. Now something that's pure speculation is land price appreciation. So earlier I said from 2021, the Iowa Land Survey went up 17%. Just for fun, let's take my purchase price of $396,000, add 17% increase. Let's act like it did it again this year. And that would turn out to $460,000 or $67,000 increase year over year from land price appreciation. And that's not liquid. That's all on paper. But what I want to find out is like what kind of year-over-year number we can use. That's sure, it's all speculation, but it's fairly conservative. Over the past 50 years, since 1973, Iowa land prices have went up 6% year-over-year, and that 6% is an average. So 21 to 22, that was 17%, and maybe back in the 80s it went down 10% one year, 8% one year. So on average, past 50 years, it's went up 6%, and let's cut that into a third. So I'm going to use 2% for this. So let's conservatively say my land went up 2% this year. That would be $7,900 increase, which is starting to bring that $16,000 loss down even lower. And let's just say we use 6%, well, that's $23,000 a year. Again, I'm not using that, but I mean, that's what it's done the past 50 years, which is kind of interesting just to think about. And again, it's all illiquid. It's all on paper. I could cash out refinance or I could sell it. But, maybe for the next 3 years, land goes down 5% year over year. And I'm in a crunch. I need to sell the land. Oh, I lost 15%. But when you kind of factor that in, you can kind of start to justify, buying land. And maybe that's why land prices are so high. Just people get used to the number going up. And people keep buying, low interest rates. I don't know. I'm just saying. So now after the savings from borrowing my brother's tractor and combine, then let's factor in the principal payment and then also the 2% land appreciation. Now it looks like on paper we actually made some money. You could say this year we made $3,400. I'm not going to. I'm just saying maybe some people do. People look at numbers in all different ways. That's kind of one thing I've discovered when you open up an Excel spreadsheet, track all your stuff. It's probably it's really good to do it, but don't base your decision fully off that. Now, realistically, money out of my pocket was really closer to $14,000 because, again, I didn't pay my brother for borrowing his equipment, but I like to be more conservative, and we'll stick with the negative $16,000. Now, one thing I haven't talked about is if I ever got an operating loan. Some farmers, it's a lot of money. For example, that fertilizer, the spraying, all that stuff you're paying for, the seed, I already bought seed for next year. And so some farmers borrow money to then pay all their expenses for that year. And I didn't do that, but you could also add that into the expenses that some farmers might have. But one thing too to hit on is the fun and enjoyment I got from this year, all the learning we did and stuff like that. There's no way to factor that in on paper. And if you guys want to watch a better video that goes more in depth, Cole the Cornstar, I'll link his video below. He spends a lot of time going in much more detail on all this stuff. Now I want to throw another wrench into this situation and look at how much this YouTube channel made this year. And specifically, let's combine that with the revenue off the corn and then how much this YouTube channel made off specifically farming videos on this land. And the whole reason I made this YouTube channel wasn't actually to make any money. It was kind of for the fun of it, document some stuff, look back on, and I actually didn't put any ads on my videos at first. I calculated a while back, I missed out on $1,000 to $2,000. Now there's a bunch of ways to make money off YouTube, but we're gonna specifically keep it really simple and just look at AdSense, how much I'm making off per video, Google AdSense. Now the highest view video was 760,000 views, and that made $2,600. And that comes out to $3.53 per 1,000 views. So that's how much revenue I got per 1,000 views, or RPM for short. And a video that got 660,000 views made $3,600 or $5.50 per 1,000 views. And where not all YouTube videos make the same amount of money, also you have different YouTube channels. So a channel that's about video games and a channel that's solely about real estate or finances. The real estate and finance channel is going to make quite a bit more per 1,000 views. But once you find out how much something makes per 1,000 views, then you just take that number and times it by however many views it has. And the total amount of money I made from YouTube videos this year, specifically about farming, came out to $7,800. Now you could take that number, minus it off our $16,000, and say we only lost around $8,000 this year. Or if we add that YouTube money, plus our principal payment, plus the savings we got from using Grant's equipment, and then the land appreciation, on paper we could say that we made $11,000 this year. But all that's just speculation, the appreciation, stuff like that. I'm not going to look at it that way. I'm just saying you could. And the total amount of money this channel made this year comes to about $14,000. That's pretty crazy to see that we made that much money off this channel so far. Super appreciate all the people that watch the videos. That wasn't my goal at the beginning of this year, and nowhere did I factor that into my projections for this year. I actually, like I said, I missed out on I think around $2,000 because I didn't have ads on my videos. So that kind of gives you an idea once you look at how many views are on some of these videos, how much you could make if you were to start your own YouTube channel. I always kind of tell friends and family there's a million ways to make money online. It's a good opportunity. It's honestly a really good side hustle for somebody that's looking to maybe you have a 9 to 5 and you have a couple hours late at night that you're looking to do something to start something. YouTube isn't, there's a million different ways. YouTube's just one way, but maybe you're really passionate about one certain niche or topic. And so anyway, I just wanted to share those numbers, and maybe you guys think those aren't worth the time I put into the videos. They actually take quite a bit of time to edit them and stuff, but maybe you guys think, holy cow, $14,000 off making these stupid YouTube videos. That's awesome. I should start it. So anyway, just thought I'd be transparent with those numbers. And for those who are interested, I'm going to link some resources down in the description to like really good podcasts I listen to, like good YouTube channels, stuff like that are positive, and it's just good stuff to listen to. So if you're interested in that, it'll be in the description. Don't have to watch it, but I just thought I would include that information for the 10 people who are interested. Thank you for those who watched to the end of the video. Appreciate it. And yeah, comment below. Let me know if you have any thoughts or different ways of looking at things or things I should do different for next year. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it.